Mathematically speaking, an NFL player only has a 1 out of 32 chance of playing for the team they cheered for as a kid. So it's a double whammy when you have two dreams come true. Turning pro, for starters, and also getting the chance to play for your childhood team. Here are some active NFL players who got to do just that. Justin Herbert. The Los Angeles Chargers don't have the biggest fan base by any means, so it's only fitting that their new franchise star just happened to be a Chargers fan as a kid. Herbert was born in Eugene, Oregon, and he played his college ball for the Oregon Ducks. And here's a cool side note for you. Herbert was also a Ducks fan as a kid, and his grandfather, Rich Schwab, also played at Oregon back in the 60s. That's right, Herbert has had the fortunes of not playing for one, but two of his childhood teams. Is that a record? Less than a week after he was drafted 6th overall by LA in the 2020 draft, the Chargers shared something really cool. As it turns out, Herbert had it all planned out at the age of 9. Herbert also discussed his boyhood Chargers fandom with Pac-12 networks.
I grew up watching the Dane Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, those guys. Being on the West Coast, Eugene doesn't have any pro sports team, so it's kind of just the Chargers, and that was kind of it for us.
Those star-studded Chargers Herbert grew up watching never got to a Super Bowl. After having to watch all those heartbreaking losses as a kid, wouldn't it be quite the story if you were to take them all the way to the title? LeVeon Bell. It took an ugly exit from the Pittsburgh Steelers for Bell to land with his childhood team, but hey, better late than never. The Michigan State product was drafted in the second round by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2013. After 5 seasons in the Steel City, he opted to sit out the 2018 season amid a contract dispute. That would pave the way for Bell to land with his childhood team. Back in 2011, a 19-year-old Bell tweeted about his Jets fanship. Let's just say he was one of the few optimistic fans this sad franchise has ever had. Bell was so optimistic, in fact, that he even had them winning Super Bowl 46. In an interview on the R&B podcast, Bell revealed that he grew up idolizing Jets legend and Hall of Fame running back Curtis Martin.
Talk about your style. Where'd you get that patience from? Kind of some of your models. Who do you model your game after?
I'm growing up. When I was young, Curtis Martin was my guy. And I remember when I was young, I didn't really understand, why he always put his hand on like the back of his lineman all the time, but I used to just try to do it when I was younger. I didn't know why he was doing it, But now when I look back on it, it's because he's just trying to wait and set up his block, and that helped me. That's something that I perfected just growing up over the course of time. So now to the point where I kind of like perfected, being patient. I don't feel like I ever have to rush, and I think that's what I really understand. And I love, and I think it's really helped my running style the way it is, growing up watching Curtis Martin.
In 2019 free agency, Bell left Pittsburgh and signed a 4-year, $52.5 million contract with the Jets. Afterwards, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that they were able to beat the San Francisco 49ers in negotiations largely because of Bell's previous love for the Jets. Unfortunately for Bell, the 2-year stint in the Big Apple was a colossal disaster. He clashed with head coach Adam Gase, who failed to properly utilize his talent. Bell lasted less than 2 seasons with New York as he was released early in the 2020 season. And so, Bell wasn't exactly able to follow in the footsteps of Martin and become the next great Jets running back. But hey, at least he can say he suited up for his childhood club at one point in his career. Adam Thielen. It's easy to see why the Pro Bowl wideout grew up as a fan of the Minnesota Vikings. He was born in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. He was raised in the Gopher State, and Thielen played for the Minnesota State Mavericks football team. In a 2017 interview with Tim Rohan of Sports Illustrated, Thielen discussed his childhood love for the Vikings. He idolized 3-star Vikings receivers in Jake Reed and, of course, Hall of Famers Randy Moss and Chris Carter.
Randy Moss, Chris Carter, those are guys that made me want to play football. I emulated Chris Carter probably more, the sideline catches, but then when it came down to it, I was Randy Moss.
He wore Moss and Carter jerseys in his backyard, looking to pull off the catches they would make on a weekly basis. In a feel-good underdog story, Thielen signed with his home state team during the 2013 offseason after going undrafted. He didn't play that year and had a very limited role on the mini offense in 2014 and 2015. But Thielen finally broke out in 2016 when he caught 69 passes for 967 yards and 4 touchdowns. He followed that up with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and helped the Vikings reach the 2017 NFC Championship game. Only this time, he endured the playoff heartbreak as an actual player and not as a fan. From childhood Vikings fan to hopeful receiver to a star receiver on the Vikings, Thielen really has accomplished the ultimate dream. Cody Parkey. Parkey is a veteran journeyman kicker, so it was theoretically only a matter of time until he landed with his childhood team. That would be the Miami Dolphins. Parkey was born in Jupiter, Florida. The Auburn product signed with the Indianapolis Colts as an undrafted rookie in 2014, but he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles before the start of the season. Parkey would stay on the Eagles roster for 2 seasons. Following a brief tenure with the Cleveland Browns, Miami claimed him off waivers before the start of the 2017 season. After joining his childhood team, Parkey sat down with reporters and expressed his excitement.
Couldn't have been a better spot for me to land here. I'm close to home. And I grew up a Dolphins fan, so this is pretty awesome. And I get to kick in some warm weather, which is also good news. So,
whose poster do you have on your bedroom wall growing up?
Probably, I don't think I had a specific player, but just the Dolphins logo. I to this day I still get the updates of the halftime scores and stuff. So after the games on my phone, I'm like, oh, the Dolphins won, So
So you could not have picked a better destination.
No, this is awesome. This is incredible.
Living just an hour away, Parkey also said that his family would usually attend one Dolphins game each year. But now that he was on the team, he obviously assumed that they'd be making the trip to South Beach a little more frequently. Kevin Dotson. Dotson was born in West Point, Mississippi. He was raised in Louisiana, where he attended high school and college. But it was the Pittsburgh Steelers, not the New Orleans Saints, who Dotson grew up rooting for. Dotson's dream came true when the Steelers drafted him in the 4th round, 135th overall in the 2020 draft. Thanks to his Pittsburgh fandom, Dotson already had the perfect setup when he introduced himself to the Steelers after the draft.
Hi, this is Kevin Dotson, your 4th round pick, and I can't wait to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's go!
In the post-draft teleconference, Dotson said he had been a Steelers fan since he was 5 years old.
So explain to me how you became a Steelers fan, and I guess just how excited your family is who are also Steelers fans.
Yeah, it kind of starts with my dad. He's been a Steelers fan since he was about 8, 9. And it's kind of crazy that he would be a Steelers fan, not being anywhere near the Steelers, because my dad is from Mississippi. So he's been a fan all his life, and living and growing up with my dad, you kind of grow into it just because the way that they play football. And if you just watch the Steelers, you understand why you would become a Steelers fan, because you have to be a certain type of person to be a Steelers fan and be a Steelers player. And that's kind of what I've aspired to be, and being able to get this opportunity it's just it's a godsend.
His favorite player was Hall of Fame running back Jerome "the Bus" Bettis. Dotson also talked about being a fan of Ben Roethlisberger, even remarking that he never thought he'd get the chance to meet him. Well, Mr. Dotson, life is full of surprises now, isn't it? Ronald Darby. Darby, simply put, has experienced the best of both worlds. The veteran cornerback grew up a fan of the Washington football team. But before he went to the nation's capital in 2020, Darby played 3 seasons on the NFC East rival Philadelphia Eagles. Darby won a Super Bowl 52 championship in his first season with Philly. After accomplishing the feat, Darby got to experience the other big dream, playing for your childhood team. He signed with Washington in the 2020 offseason. In a subsequent interview, Darby, who was born and raised in Maryland, revealed that he actually grew up a Washington football fan.
We obviously know you're from Oxon Hill, Maryland. What's it feel like coming back home like this?
Kind of, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. I grew up a Redskins fan, so I'm from the area. So being about to play for the team, you grew up loving, it's kind of like a dream come true. But I'm just happy for the opportunity.
Darby's first year with his boyhood team was an unexpected success. He helped Washington win the NFC East with a 7-9 record. They gave the eventual Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers a scare in the wild card round 2, losing a close game 31-23. Philip Lindsay. He was born in Denver, raised in Colorado, and played his college football for the Colorado Buffaloes. Indeed, Philip Lindsay was born to be a Denver Bronco. After going undrafted in 2018, Lindsay signed with the Broncos. Interestingly, it was revealed in a Q&A segment that he was close to signing elsewhere, but Lindsay's mother convinced him to join the team he grew up rooting for.
They wouldn't even get me in the 7th round, Denver.
I said, no, Philip, I think you need to stay here. I think this will be the best thing for you.
He also took the number 30, surprisingly unretired, to pay homage to the franchise legend and Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis.
When I got on the phone to talk with him, man, he was impressive. We talked, and he explained to me how he grew up in Denver, and I knew he went to CU, and I started giving me the backstory of everything he did and how he actually bought my book.
I told him that, I read his book. a while ago, and so I knew about TD for a long time.
At the end of the phone call, I just told him, I said, man, yeah, absolutely. And he asked if he can wear number 30. I was like, man, go for it.
You know, I had an opportunity to wear number 30, and you know, I felt like it was the best thing to do if I had his blessings to be able to wear number 30.
Lindsay quickly emerged as the key cog in their offense, and he finished his rookie year with 1,037 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. He followed it up with 1,011 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in his sophomore year. So yeah, as far as production goes, you can see Lindsay made the right call to join his hometown childhood team. Malik Hooker. Though he was born in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, Hooker didn't cheer for the Eagles nor the Steelers. He attended Ohio State. But that did not turn Hooker into a Cleveland Browns or Cincinnati Bengals fan either. Rather, Hooker's childhood team was the Indianapolis Colts. So it was that much more special when they drafted him 15th overall in 2017. Hooker wasn't going back home, but he was going to the team he cheered for as a kid.
Well, I loved it. I think I saw that you are a Colts fan. You grew up a Colts fan, enjoyed watching Joseph Adai play out there on the field. Dream come true, a little bit of fate mixed in with this coming to Indy?
It's definitely a dream come true. Like I said, I've been watching him since Joseph Adai was running back, and ever since then, I've just always been a fan. So for me to get drafted to my favorite team is definitely a great thing for me.
Hooker said he watched so many Colts games with his cousin that he ultimately decided to join the fan base. After he was drafted, Hooker wasted no time playing as himself on Madden in a Colts uniform no less. CaseKeenum. Keenum was born in Brownwood, Texas, and he played college at Houston, but it was actually the Denver Broncos who won over Keenum's loyalty when he was young. After leading the Vikings to the 2017 NFC Championship game, Keenum hit the 2018 free agent market. He wound up signing with none other than the Broncos, who were desperate for a new starting quarterback. Keenum signed a 2-year pact worth $36 million. After the transaction, he tweeted a childhood photo of himself in a John Elway jersey. You know, the guy who was actually responsible for signing Keenum in free agency.
I'd like to introduce you to the new starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos, CaseKeenum.
That's incredible. That's introduced by John Elway, man. That's a dream come true.
Unfortunately for Keenum, he wasn't exactly able to play up to the standards of the legendary number 7. He spent just 1 year in Denver, and after a lackluster season, was traded to Washington. But hey, at least Keenum got to enjoy that 1 year with his childhood team. Very few NFL players get to experience that after all. Sammy Watkins. The speedy wideout was born in Fort Myers, Florida. He attended high school there before taking his football talents to Clemson. Though Watkins didn't grow up in Buffalo, or anywhere relatively close for that matter, the franchise somehow earned his support during his youth. For Watkins, choosing his favorite team largely came down to the jersey colors, as he explained this in an interview on The John Murphy Show.
How did they become your childhood team?
Just growing up and watching all the great players they had, great receivers, and then Drew Bledsoe. And, childhood team, you loved all the colors, so they had great colors, and they was good on the game, and I just used to play with them all the time. That was the one team that I played with consistently, and now I'm playing for real with them in National Football League.
Who were some of your favorite Buffalo Bills, Sammy?
Ed Reed was one of them. It was another receiver, I think, Eric Moles. Then, of course, Drew Bledsoe, and I don't think I did was threw the ball anyways.
Well, it just so happened that the Bills thought super highly of Watkins. They paid a hefty price to trade up with the Cleveland Browns to draft Watkins 4th overall in 2014. To get Watkins, the Bills had to trade the number 9 selection plus their 2015 1st and 4th round selections. Unfortunately, Watkins was never able to fully get it going with his childhood team. He had 982 receiving yards in his rookie year, and he followed it up with 1,047 in his sophomore campaign. But Watkins' production declined in 2016, and it led to him getting traded to the St. Louis Rams. In 2018, Watkins signed a 3-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. He won Super Bowl 54 with them, and 1 year later, the Chiefs beat those Bills he grew up loving in the AFC Championship game. So in the end, it all worked out fine for Watkins. He started with his boyhood team, then went on to win a Super Bowl elsewhere. How do you like that? But hey, what other NFL players wound up playing for the team they cheered for as a kid? Let us know in the comments section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.